Thank you so much. And thanks, Fatima and Al. 6 years old. That is how old I was when my perpetrator started grooming me. 6 years old is too young to understand masterful deception. 6 years old is too young to physically fight off monsters by yourself. These are not the monsters under your bed, but monsters who get into your bed and get into every safe place in your life, destroying the innocence, especially of our little girls. My monster is one of a sea of monsters globally. In my presentation, I want to share things we can all do to stop these monsters, and I want to bear witness of the healing that can come from the aftermath of their destruction. My name is Cara Baldree. Thank you to Big Ocean Women for inviting me to speak today about my survivor experience of ritualized sexual abuse as a child, and I will refer to this evil as ritual abuse. To say that I feel honored to speak today is an understatement, especially as I was told by my sneaky perpetrator that I was invisible. Even though I have a phenomenal family, because of this monster, the emotionally staining words he projected on me were written into my belief system for much of my life. I am here to create awareness about ritual abuse. Ritual abuse is a war against our children. As the world has seen ritual abuse in the Epstein files unfold, it is a hidden purgatory and is possibly the closest a human can get to hell and still remain living. Next, some crimes, especially any sexual coercion of our children, are so difficult and painful to hear that many choose to ignore or dismiss the truth. Mold grows and thrives in dark places when left alone and ignored, just like ritual abuse has been. These torture stories have gone with many survivors to their graves. Today, I honor the missing stories of the invisible children who didn't make it and the adult survivors who couldn't hang on in a world where they were not helped nor believed. We need armies of warriors and advocates to seek out the invisible children who sometimes grow up to be invisible adults in a war they never chose to enlist in. Next. Thank you. For those who are unfamiliar with what ritual abuse is, it is organized and intentional sexual, physical, and psychological torture designed to control the victims and is marked by ceremonial actions, clothing, objects, signs, symbols, and words designed to commemorate or celebrate particular occasions in a cultural, social, or especially a religious context. If satanic rituals are added, that is called satanic ritual abuse or SRA. Another term used is RAMCOA, which stands for ritual abuse, mind control, and organized abuse. Cults are often involved. There are already laws about child sexual abuse, sexual violence, and even torture. But ritualized sexual abuse adds the component of rituals and organized torture, usually in a religious manipulation. I consider it modern day slavery in our own backyards, where many of the perpetrators can be well educated, well connected, and influential. Yet these seemingly nice people are ravenous wolves devouring our children. These perpetrators have deceived many because outward appearances and actions don't match the allegations. This form of abuse is often an intergenerational familial problem. Many of my survivor friends were also trafficked, experienced cannibalism, human sacrifices, or participated in forced torture of other children, which I have no memories of myself. Those who prey upon defenseless children are the ultimate cowards, especially since many culprits literally hide their faces during abuse, just like roaches who scurry when the light is on, they hide. People are sometimes comfortably uneducated and are quick to make false assumptions on these crimes. Children are casualties to our adult dismissal on this topic. In June of 2021, my memories started coming back to the forefront of my mind, exploding furiously as they purged from the deepest places inside, sometimes for hours a day, for several months. My repressed memories would occasionally come forward after that for over 3 more years. This is dissociation. And my memories were deeply suppressed for over 3.5 decades. You can go to the next slide. Your mind can completely sever overwhelming experiences and lock them away inside until they are safe enough to come forward. Dissociative amnesia is well documented and explains why children don't report abuse. Every abuse memory that has come forward for me was severely dissociated, and it is viewed like I am floating and looking down upon my perpetrator hurting me. Next slide. When my dissociated memories came back, I learned to thank Jesus and my body for helping release them because I was truly grateful this ugliness was no longer trapped deep inside, causing problems. I believe in bringing the dark things to the light to be healed, and I wanted Jesus to heal me. From what I've been able to reconstruct, my perpetrator started grooming me when I was about 6 years old in Salmon, Idaho, in the United States, and it continued off and on for several years. Although most ritual abuse survivors have many perpetrators, I have memories of just one abuser. I want to emphasize that my parents have completely loved and protected me my entire life, had no part of this, and my abuse has not only traumatized me as a survivor, but my whole family. As a young child in second grade, my perpetrator would sometimes wait as my bus dropped me off at school in the morning. I had already been groomed and was trained to get in his car if he showed up. This is kidnapping. It happened many times. He would take me away for a few hours at a time while he tortured me, but was careful not to leave many visible marks. My good parents assumed I was safe at school. He taught me to never fight back or tell anyone because the abuse would intensify under constant threats of killing me and my family, and I was told it would be my fault if they died. I believed him, especially when he murdered a cat in front of me and forced me to do horrible things with it. When he would drop me back off at school, no one ever asked questions or contacted my very diligent parents as to why I was late. And I don't think I even remembered what had happened just minutes before because my brain dissociated, so I gave no indication of the abuse. These many years later, I still struggle feeling my body sometimes. Next. There are many categories to ritual abuse, and this slide is not comprehensive to my experiences. This monster who is free today would sadistically rape me at gunpoint and with a hunting knife, urinate on me, do things involving rituals and animals that leave profound psychological marks. He tried to erase my divine identity in every capacity. He said that he was feasting on my innocent body, just like an animal would, and he referred to his actions as his feedings. He manipulated scriptures and did everything he could to steal God's light from me. I was told we were doing what God wanted because we were naked like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Once I remember him raising his arms as he prayed to Satan, asking for power in exchange for hurting me, and he said I was the sacrificial lamb. He said he preferred raping little girls like me because I was too young to get pregnant. Others, often, I was forced to beg for horrific sexual experiences and then thank him for his cruelty. My perpetrator programmed me to believe words like I deserved to die because I was God's mistake, that God hated me, or nobody would ever love me because I was Jesus's whore. If I asked him to stop or ever complained, which was definitely not allowed, he would say things like, I thought you were a good little girl who followed directions. Your parents want you to do this, so you must not love them. Don't you trust them? Do you like hurting people's feelings? He said I was the last one picked for this training because no one else wanted me. I remember when some of the really sexual memories came forward, I had so much shame. I got on my knees to pray to my divine maker, and I told my Jesus that I wished I had been murdered, like my evil perpetrator had often threatened and wished upon me. I remember saying that no human should ever have to hold such horrific memories and still have to live the rest of her life. I didn't think that was possible to keep living. Living seemed like a horrible punishment. The historian Nell Irvin Painter describes the effect of rape as soul murder, and that is exactly what it feels like. In that context, my soul was murdered countless times in very violent and inhumane ways, usually with all sorts of creative filth. I started apologizing for not being abused the right way and would tell him I would try harder to get it right. It was like I was completely invisible, and because I was a child, it didn't count. The lack of justice today confirms my feelings that my abuse did not count to some people. Ensuring justice for all women and girls means that we never passively ignore crimes and that protectors work diligently to ensure investigations are not selectively protecting institutions, reputations, or powerful people. When someone's safety is weaponized, especially as a child, terror causes massive dysregulation because trauma is stuck in the very cells of your body. And it is a lot of hard, dedicated work to rewrite false programming. My brain was wired for fear, so it does not yet know how to relax. And I've had many, many health problems as a result. I don't know what it feels like to wake up from a night's rest feeling restored and rested. Even though I have a graduate degree in education and was even nominated for a national teaching award and hold a leadership job, I can't figure out how to have sleeping routines because I'm still excavating the remnants of the ritual abuse that was thrust upon me. Next. While I firmly believe in justice for all, the reality of my own experience reflects a troubling juxtaposition. Justice has certainly not been granted to me, nor for any other ritual abuse survivor I know. Not one. Let's change that. I reported this abuse in March of 2022 to the Salmon City Police Department in Idaho. As a victim who has been constantly re traumatized in this process, it's been an underwhelming investigation. It was confusing to hear my detective tell me to never doubt that I am believed, but then have that followed with nothing. As a victim, it feels like there is no interest in justice since the communication and follow through is limited. After realizing I would not be helped locally, I have sought guidance from a sergeant, a captain several times, a colonel, a local prosecutor, and various local and state government officials. Almost no one responds. No one will help me. I need help. I've asked repeatedly from 2 agencies to file formal complaints, but I have not received assistance. I know my case is old and there's no physical evidence now, so I am relying on a confession. I was told they were coordinating efforts for this almost 2 years ago and again have not followed through. When I call Salmon City Police Department, rarely is someone there to answer the phone. I have never once in 4 years had a message even go to voicemail, and their phone automatically disconnects me after about 5 rings. I feel silenced and ignored by the lack of response as if the system has failed me. Next. Although I am still healing, I am reclaiming my life. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. I am reclaiming my life and thriving in many ways. Today, I fight back. Okay, back one. Today, I fight back with my words, advocacy work, and by my own healing work. I decided to step into my power, and I know any other survivor can too. Healing does not have to wait, and it isn't linear. It is hard work that can be discouraging, but when we tether ourselves to God, He can multiply our 5 loaves and 2 fish to feed thousands and still have leftovers to spare. I've been determined to become a child advocate and to change legislation to protect our children because it is my duty to stand up for our children. Professionally, I'm an educator, so policy work is not my skill set, and I feel completely inept in this arena. However, I jump in, I show up, and I believe in leaning into uncomfortable things. I have learned that I don't need to hold shame for speaking of abuse that was not my fault, and reclaiming my stolen voice has brought me so much joy. Little Cara is a survivor in every sense. My hell didn't win, and I am creating a better world for the next generation. I have vetted child sexual abuse prevention education curriculum for Utah and have volunteered with different organizations advocating for changes to child sexual abuse legislation. November of 2023, I felt specifically called to initiate and help pass Utah's Ritual Abuse House Bill 66 with Representative Ivory, and this was signed into law March of 2025. I've never been political, and I've needed a lot of help learning what to do. This is a pioneering bill because it is the first of its kind in Utah, and few states or countries have such a bill. I testified 5 times for this bill and for several others that I care about, and speaking about my abuse has been very empowering. Part of our law is an education component where we have phenomenal support training police officers and prosecutors on ritual abuse. Policy work and education are essential to this cause to have justice systems function, and it is our duty to jump in and create changes. With the help of a state board member, I initiated other legislation in Utah this year helping missing children. But unfortunately, this bill never moved forward, and there have been people opposing the protection of missing children. Next slide. There are many solutions to prevent and stop ritual abuse. We need you. We need people, number one, to believe the survivors. Encourage survivors to share their stories privately and publicly. Number two, we need ritual abuse experts in all areas to gather resources and then train others. Three, pass legislation to criminalize ritual abuse with stiff penalties. Number four, we need good policies requiring accountability for police, prosecutors, and the entire justice system to follow through with reports, investigations, and prosecutions. Number five, education is prevention. Educate law enforcement, child advocates, the general public, prosecution, families, educators. Prevention education, it would have changed my life. Number six, share information and resources with those around you. Be a voice. Silence protects the abusers. Speaking up protects children. Number seven, religious institutions must recognize this issue and be aware. Perpetrators strive to fit in and are masterful groomers. Next slide. Number eight, speak up when the media or individuals shame victims. This is an article from a magazine in Salt Lake last year. Notice the arrow of what the editor likened ritual abuse survivors looking like. Is that how I look? I highlighted some words used that mock the victims. Do you think survivors will speak up when we are painted in such a negative light? Please speak up to media coverage that shames victims. Next, my last slide, almost my last slide. My healing is proof my abuser didn't win. And although I am still on my healing journey and still have dark days, my voice is stronger than the silence that once trapped me. There is always hope, always. The number one reason for my healing has been Jesus Christ. He has become my dearest friend in this difficult journey. And I would encourage anyone to connect to their spiritual power and expect miracles in the journey. I know He loves me. Gratitude has been powerful as I am still learning to be grateful in any circumstance, even for the really hard stuff. I have learned that abuse rewires your brain, but so does gratitude. So it's important to have self-compassion and to pay attention to the thoughts that you allow to be in your head. Gratefully, I have good insurance to pay for my hundreds and hundreds of therapy visits with my phenomenal trauma therapist and other medical needs. I'm indebted to my good family and friends who have listened to me weep and retell hours and hours and hours of these horrific experiences. The love of my parents saved me. Part of my healing has been through forgiving my abuser, or at least trying to. And I practice giving Jesus the heavy things I cannot hold. He does the miracles, not me. I know Jesus is the master healer, and coming to know Jesus is the very best thing about my abuse. I credit that forgiveness as an act of God because miraculously, I have always had mostly feelings of empathy for this man. Last slide. Healing is possible. This is how I choose to look back and see myself as a little girl. She is my hero. And in a world where she'd never received justice, she is a fighter for other children. I believe it is our imperative duty to become aware and educated so that we can stop these parasitic monsters from hurting our children. We cannot remain comfortable and have a safe world. Join me as we get uncomfortable defending the innocence of children. Thank you.